All right, welcome back to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open. I'll be soon starting the... Get them winkers in, you know.
Get them winkers more.
But soon we'll be starting the losers finals. So it will be two players who came from the lower side, which was Bresso and Bits. Bresso is the German player, also was played in the TMGLC Combine, also played in the TMGL Mid-Season Invitational event at the start of the year. So it's actually one of his first LAN appearances as well, and he managed to climb himself into the lower finals as well with this. And also Bits was a bit of a surprise. He was in the lower finals. He was looking really good, but had an unfortunate match in the winners semifinals where he was playing against Deska and Mime, who are now currently in the grand finals. And now their opposition will be Auris from Lithuania, who we just saw from the winner's side, and Forever, who was also just came in from losers. So some things to note that this event is sponsored by Skytech, who build a sick PC setup as well at the group stage. We'll hold the day one. At the moment in the Trackmania booth, there are a bunch of challenges happening where people can also get candidate prizes as well. Also, we had supplies from Genesis and Noxo, and also Fieldman also. So you can get a vision of the game as well, and especially since you need to be so precise, you really need to see those proper pixels on the screen. So definitely why you need such glasses as well. But yeah, soon we'll be starting our lower finals match. All the players are slowly getting ready as well. So we'll have the similar structure as we saw in the winners finals. So it will be starting with all players will be starting with 100 points. So it's going to be a 1v1v1v1 with all four players playing against each other. So the first place in each round will get -3 points, second place gets -5, third place gets -7, fourth place gets -10, and if a players do not manage to finish in a round, will get -15. So the top two, so we'll be playing till we have 2 eliminations from this match. So the top 2 players will be going to the grand finals. However, while the bottom 2 players will be eliminated from the tournament. Of course, we're probably gonna see at least 1, maybe even 2 players from either Lithuania or I mean, there's only 1 player from Germany. So I might see a bit more diverse final at the end, but at the moment I would say Polish players are definitely looking as one of the stronger ones so far. As we're soon going to be starting with the match. It seems like all players are just ready. We're suddenly jumping into the game. So who do you see who potentially could clutch it out that slot in the grand finals? Forever and Auris were looking very shaky. But since Bresso and Bits, especially Bits, was also quite practicing a lot on stage to get used to the environment, so we might see a potential upset coming from here, and he might sneak himself into the finals. But we'll see what do you think who might be the 2 players who might come out into the finals from this match?
This time I feel like actually Forever will get like first place, definitely. But it's gonna be a tight fight between like our Lithuanian players here, Auris and Bits. Both of them, honestly, I like how Auris has stepped up his game so much, especially for this event and everything. Like, he's really contesting with Bits right now. But I feel great about that, at least. Great to see people improve.
Yeah, he also in the last Baltic Trackmania League, he also managed to squeeze himself into final as well, where the both 2 Estonians, Morioka and Sandor, did take the 1-2, with Bits and Auris managing to take the 3rd and 4th place. So he definitely has stepped up his game, also within the Baltic and international scene. But we'll see how it will end up here. But so at the moment he was coming from the winner's side, so this was the first match he has lost during the entirety of the event, including the online qualifiers, losing that being the bottom side of the basically player pool in the specific match. So yeah, well, last few seconds left in the warm-up, we'll be starting our lowers bracket final at the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open tournament. So the top 2 players will be going to the grand final, while bottom 2 players will be eliminated or playing reverse cup mode, and the bottom. Basically, when players run out of their points, if they're put into reverse finalist, and if they place last in reverse finalist, they will be eliminated from the match. Very poor start so far from both Forever and Bits, actually. Bit of a shaky start from both of the players. Looking at the potential favorites now coming into this match, as Auris currently is leading, following the German player Bresso in 2nd place. Forever starting to catch up a bit on the Bits' side. Seems like Auris is starting to increase the lead. Bresso is definitely one of the players who is a bit more consistency favored. Not a bit lacking on pace, but trying to avoid the main mistakes. Forever trying to push it, trying to squeeze himself into that second place, really trying to get a low jump coming from that upper right as the calls comes down at the uphill. Beautiful uphill by Forever. A bit catched up on Bresso. Bresso also got a pretty good one, but the exit speed coming from the Forever side, despite having him even an early mistake so far. So we have a pretty contested top 3 so far. Aurison a bit ahead, but seems like way more exit speed from Bresso's and Forever's side, but seems like it's going to be Auris taking it, and Bresso still maintaining. We have a tie. We have a tied points, and Bresso does take the -5 in this situation, as Forever was super close. And in the end, Forever does take the -7 as Bits. A mistake at the end cost him the -10 at the end. Very sick round already, starting off with this lower final.
Imagine being saved by the alphabet. That was the alphabet advantage that Bresso had over Forever, because they were tied. Or wait, actually, do we have that?
No, that's
system?
changed. It's
yeah,
like
with the checkpoint time.
Yeah, it's checkpoint time now. It's nowadays.
Oof.
Yeah, now coming into the next first round, now Forever trying to redeem himself. It's now pushing him to the early lead. As Bits also trying to get some, let's just say, points saved for later parts. As Bresso has a touch from the inside, puts himself in the bottom position, put himself at -10 point range. Forever in a quite stable first place. No major risks coming. However, Auris had a very shaky LAN. He didn't manage to get the air brake properly in. He did try to do a flow trick at the end to save his momentum coming from the bump, but so far seems quite stable. 1-2 force coming from this match, as Forever will cashing in his -3 points, putting himself a bit of a safe spot coming at the start, as he did have the best of rounds coming at the start. And also in the first match he was looking quite shaky, but it will be Forever also with a 59.9, which is a pretty good time, and that will be the times that we might see on this match, especially at the finals as well.
There are sizable gaps being created right now.
There were different type of mistakes happening. There was a player who saved it a bit. Due to that, one gap created. There was a small touch from our side, and then a bit bigger mistake from Bresso. Due to that, solved these gaps created. But sometimes the players do risk quite a bit. They can still caught up or like cash in on some other mistakes that can happen from the other side. Usually in everything is like that. If you make one mistake, you're eventually gonna make another one. So far not the best starts from Auris, as Forever has a quite stable start. Looks like Bits did lose the gear on the plastic side. Dropped himself at the second position, a close contention between the 2, 3, 4 players. Forever definitely having a bit of a showcase of a better starts this time around. Even previous round, he managed to take a win. He had a mistake early on, he managed to stipe it in the end. Currently seems like Forever is a very stable lead. The main lies are seems like on the fight for the second place. Bits trying to go for the Oi Beagle on the side. Seems like a very close round so far between Bresso and Bits currently. Seems like Forever in his very stable first place. Looks like Bresso has a bit more exit speed, but it's just like basically identical at the end. Trying to force enter the outside line, trying to build a bit more momentum. Looks like Bresso had a better line, trying to snag that outside line a bit more. Bits puts a lot of exit speed, a bit of airtime, and it looks like it's gonna be Bits actually taking it with a -5 in the end, and Bresso with a -7 in the third place. Really close round, like trying to just an unlucky tiny airtime. Really just ruined his exit speed at the end.
It seems we just have like these beautiful fights for the second places, and then always the first place is just ahead of everyone. Forever right now, he drove like a 59.6 right now.
Yeah, it's 0.1 from world record. So Forever seems like to be a completely different game, as Auris has an early touch so far, but all trying to really get him to screw, trying to prove himself so he can potentially really contest. This really gets into your mind. If you start to make mistakes, it's really hard to like climb out of that pit. So far he's definitely trying to get change in the groove of things. But so far Bits is only one who can potentially contest him, as Bresso is quite only 0.3 behind, while Auris is quite far down in the back. So far Forever is leading the field.
Wow.
Bits went for try to get the extra grip to gain extra speed from the middle side, but that didn't really work out. So he really tried to go for the risk there. He really sacrificed his second position, could drop down now to 4th. Even Auris now starting to overtake him. So now Bits is quite far behind. It all comes down if he does manage to finish it in the end. Only 7 seconds should be enough to finish, at least with the finish timeout. It seems like really big gaps in this round, as Forever will be taking another -3, Bresso with the -5, and seems like a pretty consistent, nice and safe round from Forever's side, and ours will be taking the -7. So definitely Forever has put himself in a bit more safe position, especially since he had a very shaky first round. Now trying to snipe those -3 positions, increasing that, let's just say, points lead between the rest of the field, getting those extra, let's say, advantage when it comes down to real pressure rounds at the end. But at the moment, both Lithuanians are looking quite back, and with a lot of silly mistakes coming from both of them. Definitely might be an additional pressure as being the only Lithuanian players left in the tournament. But so far, seems like the Bresso might even contest in the finals. Actually, before, like off stage, Bresso said that even making top 6 was already like a good goal for him, considering what the level was like at the event. So if he makes it, like I would say, on the final, he said that will be a massive icing on the cake. So far, the points are with his advantage, as he's currently, it is tied. He is tied with both Auris and himself. While Bits is only 3 points down. So the bottom 2 players, when they'll run out of the points, they'll be put in reverse finalist. And if they'll get last place in reverse finals, they'll be eliminated from the tournament. They'll be playing that till 2 people from this match are eliminated. So that'll be the format for today. And while the top 2 players will be going to the grand final, we'll see silly mistakes happening in the warm-up while people are just trying to get ready. As usually we say, the warm-up meisters, when they have a really good warm-up, but then the rounds are really, really bad. So I myself, when I used to compete, I myself tried to just get all the mistakes out from the warm-up and try to have a consistent match afterwards. It looks like we might be the same thing. Will we see also the outside line snipes now coming at the very end, just like the Deska did?
Watching Bresso drive these maps, especially Felon, I don't know if I was the only one who like noticed, but holy, those dirt outside lines he took on Felon, those were so risky, but yet so mesmerizingly beautiful. They were so close to the wall. I'm amazed he didn't touch there. I hope he has the same vibe going here on the end now.
As we're going to be starting on the first round, both looks like Auris and Bits had a bit of an airtime. Bits really tried to force for the inside line, got a bit of an airtime. Seems like Auris will be the one with an early touch, put himself in a bottom position so far. For a little bit to try to get an extra airtime, trying for an outside line. Bits sacrificed quite a bit of speed due to that, puts Bits in a bit more advantageous position so far. However, very nice upper gear there from Forever, caught up to Bits as well, who also dropped the gear, same with Bresso. Now there's a solid 1-2 fight for the top position. Forever really trying to push it, get a nice oversteer with the small dirt adjustment, but Bits got a bit more extra speed, really trying to cash in on that attacks with the inside line. We saw seen silly touches there, now it all comes to the end. Who gets the outside line properly? Bits had a better entry, better speed, small touch at the end, and it's almost a 7,000th of a second difference with weight.
Was that even a touch?
It was so close.
Sheesh. That was amazing. Round skipped, but...
There was an issue a bit about the points, I noticed. Bits managed to finish, but he got -5. So it seems like there was a bit of issue, but everything is at least resolved on the admin side. So there's a bit of a pause coming so far in the match to get the issue being resolved.
Pause.
So yeah, so far definitely seems like I would say a bit of an all-round. So all the time there's some kind of player who is a bit, you know, all the time, like not really dominant position, but this match seems like can go either way. There's some consistency. Let's say Bresso, for example, not the fastest, but definitely the consistent one. Definitely the player who cashes in on the mistakes from others. He does have solid pace, but it's not enough to get those -3s consistently. That puts him that, let's just say, that safety net. Similar to the case with Forever, all the time really trying to force for that, like the world record time potentially to get that 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 point world record regu pace. And sometimes, yeah, it happens, trying to also pressure his opposition to, you know, oh man, I'm doing this insane pace all the time. Can you, like, you know,
that is the Polish mindset. Just every round is a potential world record.
Yeah, hunting world record in a tournament rounds, exactly. But yeah, so far in terms of total points, seems like while everything is resolved, we have still with the situation where Auris and Bresso are still with the tied points, as the points were not given out accordingly at this system model, while everything is resolved on the admin side. But yeah, both two Lithuanians are looking kind of shaky. However, Bits definitely, if we see a peaking Bits, I think definitely he can pop himself into grand finals and maybe even contest the top positions as well. So in the early bracket matches, we have 2 eliminations, but in the grand final, it will be 3 eliminations. Well, it will basically end up with a 1v1 to decide who will be the winner of the tournament at the very end. Looks like all the players are currently discussing a potential replay of the last round due to the points distribution. Was a 6-6 round happening from the like what we saw, but you know what, this is a very new game mode. It's not really, let's say, oftenly played. This is the first LAN event using this mode, which you basically start with points and trying to lose them. It has been tested out in some regional competitions in the UK as well. I believe there were some local community-based events as well using this script. So this is the first time it's on LAN. So of course some mistakes might happen, issues here and there, but it seems like most of the event it was quite fine. But of course some mistake might happen, you know, here and there.
Yeah, it seems like the functionality itself is just a bit wonky right now.
All right, and it seems like we're back at the game stream. We'll be starting with the first round, so the previous rounds will get replayed now. So we'll be starting at the same amount of points as we had with entered rounds. So we get to let players at least get a bit more used to the map with this current environment, with the pressure and everything. So yeah, currently still a bit, Forever will be with 84 points, Ours and Bresso with 73, and Bits will be with 70. So for Forever, definitely looking as the potential favorite on this match. Bits is the player who can definitely contest the Polish guys in terms of pace, but the consistency has been a bit of a trouble for him, as he actually, well, let's say that he does make an early mistake. Forever currently leading, falling by Bresso in second place and Ours in third. Ours trying to get that inside line. He doesn't get the exit speed as wanted, as Bresso went for the outside line, managed to get a bit more momentum going. Ours with a very nice line, gets a gear up properly as well. Bit of a weird line to adjust. This loses a bit due to that to Bresso. Also loses a bit Forever, as Forever also didn't have the best of turns so far, but seems like a very solid 1-2-3 so far. No questions asked. Will we say any fancy mistakes at the end? Only Bresso clipping inside, but still enough to maintain his second position. It seems like will be Forever just increasing his safety net lead, as Bits with a very unfortunate -10 will put him even more down on the leaderboard. So yeah, a bit unfortunate now for the Lithuanians looking, as they're currently at the bottom of the scoreboard so far. Seems like there is some technical things still being discussed as well. As there had been, of course, you can't go with like, you know, any technical issues as well.
Isn't this just fun?
So yeah, no, from the winner's side, we did have Mime and Deska, who are currently awaiting like the top 2 players from this match, who will be coming. We're already basically waiting at the grand final, where we have a bunch of prizes in over a value of over 2,700 euro coming from our sponsors with Skytech. We'll be supplying the first place a high-end PC. We already had the exact same PC at the booth. We already had like people posting on Twitter of what kind of insane FPSs you can obtain in the game. They're just celebrating FPS records. And definitely a device that people really want to have, especially if you take them in. Also, there's other prizes coming in from our sponsors from Genesis and Noxo, and also Fieldman as well. Basically an extra check at the end as well at the venue. Yeah, seems like there's have been some issues that are trying to be resolved at the moment.
Yeah. They are trying to, let's say, bring back one round that just was lost.
Ah, okay, so they're basically,
so they're finishing in the order they actually finished that round.
Okay, to set up all the points like it was to give that extra done. Okay, I see. All right, so after that, we'll be continuing on the next round then.
We're back.
Seems like yeah, we'll be live soon. Well, not yet at the moment. Would be nice to know some message from the admins to know what is happening. So yeah, we'll be replaying, so it's all properly like 4 rounds played still on this map. So we'll be properly continuing on this map being played with all the proper points like it was set. So this will be round 3. So we'll have 2 more rounds on this map. So the currently points are. Looks like it's not live. Seems like that's. We'll be playing, but yeah, some of the issues already, but there was 2 rounds being skipped, so all of the issues, one of the players a bit disagreed with some of the decisions there with the admins. But yeah, it's
the easiest thing to do, just to not get confused in these kinds of situations, is just
of course,
drive.
like, you know,
just drive.
Well, the thing is, you know, extra pressure like doesn't make you put your mind like, you know, it's not really then there, so it's kind of hard to properly focus on certain things.
Understandable.
So okay, we're finally gonna be restarting then. So everyone's ready, everyone's on the same page. So we're finally gonna be about to restarting the final. The lowers final will finally be restarted, so the points are accordingly. So Forever it will be with 76 points. Ours is in second with 59, Bresso with 58, and Bits with 57. So really close bottom 3 so far in terms of points. However, it's still the early stages of the match. There's more than 50 points still each left between all of the players, so this match can still go any way, and especially since it's so closely contested between the bottom 3, so it'll definitely be quite spicy coming out at the end parts of the event.
Bresso with that beautiful line again. It didn't look that much faster, but still, that was beautiful to look at.
Yeah, it seems like currently it's kind of really close back. People really want to get those extra rounds in because they got a bit more used to the map. So we see so much more consistency now coming in. Ferrer still is leading the field, but very close is followed by Bits and Bresso. Seems like Ferrer didn't get the gear, while Bits and Bresso did manage to get it. Due to that, they caught up, so we have a pretty close top 3. Also top 4, since Auris is also there. He actually gets a bit more exit speed comparing to Bresso and Auris. Sorry, Bits. However, Bits touches, and Auris goes for a bit of a safer line. It will be Ferrer still getting the -3, and Bresso with the -5. It's a very close round, but unfortunate mistake from Bits' side. A bit too much saving from Auris' side. Definitely put them at the bottom of the field.
It is smelling nice here in the venue. As Bresso asks, who is baking waffles?
Though there's a bunch of like food vending machines all over the venue, so definitely you can try that out. So probably some, is something coming in. But they're coming on to one more round on Resco, as currently Bits is leading the field, falling. Actually, both dual Lithuanians are currently have a bit of an early start. No silly mistakes, touches. We were really trying to force the outside line from the start, as Auris actually got an unfortunate bomb that tossed him into the wall. While Bresso is also a bit behind, but not too far out from the top 2, as Bits has a very nice exit speed coming out from this part, while falling by Forever, who is currently in 2nd place, and Bresso in 3rd. Unfortunate touch there from Forever's side, and Bits is now leading the field, falling by Bresso in 2nd place. Now the real fight is actually at the bottom, who will get the -7. Unfortunate clip there from Forever, as Auris now puts in a very consistent 3rd place, unless there's a silly mistake happening on the top of the field, potentially allow him to put at the top side. Bresso tried to risk for the outside line from the dirt side, but the gap is still pretty big at the top side, as Bits takes the -3. Definitely put points he definitely needs to just endorse the safety net that he really needs, as he's currently at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Forever just beautifully showed us both clips that I have experienced the most on this map, and in a row as well.
Well, like I said, at the top of the field, you really need to try to force for the closest parts of the walls and everything like that. So trying to maintain as much momentum, trying to get all the most optimal gears, just to save those small things, basically catching up together. So it just adds up that bit of basically like you said, there's just some things that you did everything perfectly, but somehow others are still 1 second behind. And those are the things, those perfect gears, reducing the travel distance. And just trying to, trying to get closer to the walls, trying to get that momentum going as much as possible. That's the thing that saves up at the top level, and that's the thing that allows basically the gaps to create at this stage.
The second clip there, it's just devious because it's almost now like visible. So you just cross the edge, and one moment your tire just flicks up. So it's hidden, kind of.
Yeah, so currently now after this map, so we entering Passion, we have a still similar situation as we saw coming into the map 2, where Bresso, Auris, and Bits are very close in points-wise. Then there's a bit of a gap, or we call it safety net for Forever. But this map will be very close in terms of rounds, and this will be the map that, as we said, it all will come down on the tiny optimization that will come out. How close do you go to walls? How much do you reduce the travel distance? And also the main things that will create differences on either if you are first or last. Of course, due to that, with all this risking, there might be some little touches coming out here and there, but we'll see how that's happening. Especially last time we saw that Auris was clipping the outside line right here, and due to that, throwing a couple of rounds. Seems like no players trying to have an early mistake at the start of the round. So far, it seems like Forever is leading the race, following by Bresso in the 2nd place, who has a bit more exit speed comparing to also Lithuanians and Forever, puts himself in the leading position so far, following by Bits in 3rd place. Only 0.1 difference between the top 3 players so far. Well, Bresso is currently in 2nd place, while Forever did have a nice overtake, but a bit too big on oversteer.
Whoa.
Bits does touches out, and that allows Auris to go for an overtake. Forever still leads the pack, following by Bresso in 2nd place. Also nice the water snap that they did there, they got water wheels and they're trying to snap back just to maintain the grip. But so far seems like a very consistent 1, 2, 3, and also a bit unfortunate -10 from Bits' side. Less that one small mistake, like I said, one small mistake at this level is enough to put you with that -10 and put you at the bottom of the field. And that's way too many mistakes. Bits is one of those players who can definitely contest for the top positions at the end of the tournament, but the consistency is the main thing that really lacks. And this whole format with reverse cup mode is the thing that really basically let's just say boosts up some players who are a bit more consistent, but maybe not the fastest. Because on paper you can still make it through as long as you're not last in rounds. However, of course, as end stages of the tournament, all the players are getting better and better. Unfortunate bids. The same thing that I was just saying, just like he's trying to force for those, but those small mistakes just starting to add up, just coming out from risking a bit too much. Currently we have the German player Bresso currently leading the field, followed by Auris and Forever in second and third place. Bit of a dirt snap there from Auris trying to fix up his gear and the line. Seems like Auris Bresso gets a proper grip, falling by Forever, but Forever gets a bit better lines, trying to catch it up as Auris currently in third place, gives a nice overview. Bresso tries to risk it, but holding counter on the inside, not the best speed coming out at the end, and Forever will take the -3 at the end. And Bresso in second place with the -5, Auris in third, and again an unfortunate mistake coming out from Bits that puts him with a -10 at the end of the round.
Bresso had a nice outside approach to that last drift there, but it seemed like he did a little correction there with the drift, so he didn't get that last little bit of juice out of it.
As we're coming up on round 3 of Passion, so far Forever again, all players getting a successful dirt outside line properly, no silly mistakes coming out. There is a bit of a difference. Now Bits is trying to play a bit safer. He was a bit of a small release as Auris now clips the side. Drops down to the bottom of the field, loses all of his momentum as Bresso clipped it from the side as well. So we now have a 1v1 currently between Forever and Bits, on who can potentially maintain most of his points, especially Bits, who really needs to get those top positions just to drain out the other players and send them lower on the leaderboard, just to give himself that safety net to main. As he clips the side, he really tried to push it, as you saw in the splits probably that it was really close. Really big gaps now due to this round, since all players except Forever had a mistake each.
Bits is really lucky to even get out of that situation as well as he did. That looked like something that just flips your car on on its head. I'm amazed he just kept his grip there.
So yeah, now we're actually Forever having pretty solid top field advantage. It's now currently with 54 points. Bresso is actually a bit of a surprise, now currently in second place. Both Lithuanians a bit underperforming as Bits has another mistake that will send it down to even just 9 points left if he just maintains his current position. Forever having a solid round as well, having a small lead over Bresso. Auris as well, both Lithuanians are starting to crumble under pressure. Allows even Bits to overtake Auris, coming for that third place. But yeah, Bits also needs to really step up his consistency. He has the pace, at least on paper, but just the consistency is really not here today. Currently, Forever is leading. Same with Bresso. Bresso is one of the players that we said he wasn't really winning rounds, but he was just trying to play consistent. He does lose that 0.3 at the end of the round comparing to top guys, but he just maintains and tries to play safe all the time, and it's enough to cash in on the mistakes from others, and it's enough to put him on the top of the leaderboard. As actually Forever does a very nice time there in this round. With the 49.8 and Bresso in second place with the 50.3, and with the both actually Bits still with the overtake over Auris, as Auris has another mistake, but still gets a -10 to finish off in time and not get the penalty -15 at the end.
Forever is questioning why he didn't play as well as he did right now, in upper bracket match. It's a good question, honestly.
Well, the reason is usually because since there was Mime and Deska playing that match, and usually the average pace of the round is way higher, so you need to push a bit more.
Yeah.
Since here the pace
to
is
be honest,
way
I think
lower.
it's the vibe. I remember so well as yesterday, it really depended on who were my opponents. When I had the Polish players Forever, I played the match with him, I think, yeah. I was so flustered, man. I was nervous. But yeah, the moment I reached lower brackets, then I chilled out. It was so much easier to play, and my pace improved a lot. I think it's something like that for Forever right now.
So now, if you look at the scoreboard at the moment, Forever is with very comfortable 51 points. Both Lithuanians with only 11 and 12 points each. So this might be potentially the map where we might see them in the reverse finalist, where they might be coming into a brink of elimination coming at the end. Bresso being a bit of a surprise in this match. Auris and Bits definitely the players who are faster than Bresso on paper, but those silly mistakes coming from Auris and Bits side are definitely pushing them down and allowing actually Bresso to pop off in this match due to that. As we're going on the first round, Rose Ray, which is a very consistency-based map, as we just speak about mistakes. There are multiple parts in the map where it's just a very tight part where you need to, as there's an early mistake from Forever's side. So Forever does make it a bit easier, allows a bit more opportunity for rest of the players to basically just keep their points for longer as possible. Especially Bits and Auris need them, as they're both with 11 and 12 points each so far. But Bresso is still doing pretty close with only 0.03, but Auris actually gets the grip from the black part. That gives you a bit more exit speed coming out, just with in these close situations really needed. In this third part, even though the road looks very far, there's a very tight line that you can take, otherwise you get completely thrown off in the midair, and all three players currently, so we have a very close fight for the top positions. Bresso with a small clip, but it was enough, and Auris clipped the inside.
Forever is right behind.
And yeah,
he
Forever
already
is pushing. He actually Forever made a comeback despite having the early mistake, and actually sniped Bresso, who was trying to just play safe in the middle part and put himself in the second position, as at least Bits gets a proper, comfortable -3 points. While meanwhile, Auris, where is Auris? Auris at least managed to finish, so Auris is on his last life points right now, so basically if Auris finishes, he'll be put into reverse finalists, and that's like the danger zone where a player does not want to be under this format.
Auris is down to 1 point, holy. That's unreal.
Yeah, Auris was the player also who came from the winner's bracket, so if he gets eliminated in the loser one, and being the first one who is also eliminated, that's definitely going to be a bit of an upset. But of course, you know, the bit of the stress and coming in as well. Was like he wasn't that happy about the admin situation a couple maps ago as well. So that's one of the things. All these things just play a small role as well. In overall, as currently we have Forever leading the field, goes for the very nice grip. Also, Auris gets a very nice grip as Bresso trying to keep it safe. But the thing is, Auris got a bit too much exit speed, and that kind of throw his line a bit off. As currently Forever is leading, Bits is trying to fight with him. Auris is pretty close there as well with a very nice fight with Bresso. So at the end of the round, Auris will either way be put in reverse finalist, doesn't matter what position he does get, but he can still try to drain out the other players as he gets a small release, who loses a lot of exit speed due to that. As there's a proper fight at the top two places, trying to drain out. Bits especially needs to really keep his points. So -5 or -3, and he'll be coming at the end, gets the water bounce. And he does snipe it with 2000s at the very end. Managed to just snipe Forever those extra points at the very end. And seems like that was so close, but it was not. But especially since really needs to keep those points again. Seems like we have a similar situation. It will be again set up properly, so all the points will be distributed properly. So the round will be skipped. The points will be set up as it was previously, so this round won't count. So it's a bit of a issue. Like I said, bit of an experimental format. So first time showing on LAN. With a very nice comeback from Bits' side, definitely snapped those. He will get those points back. It's all fine.
He really came through with that line he takes there, because it is possible when you get too much speed there, you overjump the landing straight into the water, and then you get the bounce off of it. Usually you would like, I think it's like meant that you go submerge like under the water.
Yeah, they'll be currently replaying the round just to fix the points issue as it came from the last up. It's a bit unfortunate, but it still can happen.
Bit seems to intentionally go for the bounce and use the action.
Yeah, actually a lot of people they went for like a air brake just to get the wheels touch above the water so it doesn't glip like smoothly with the water. But yeah, that allowed him to get that water bounce, which is actually a bit faster than getting the full grip at the end. So yeah, at the moment they're just replaying the round to get the same points repartition as it was distributed last time. So Bits keeps his -3 points from the last round. Also with the rest of the players trying to finish in the proper order as it was. As we're now going to be continue on with the rest of the match. The first round did counted, so we're going to be continue on with the match. So Auris will be put in reverse finalist. So if Auris does get last place, he'll be eliminated. So the main thing what he wants to get is be in the top 3 position and potentially drain out all the other players with their points to keep us staying in this tournament. He can still potentially clutch out the grand final as well. He just not need to be last at this point. He can't afford that anymore, and a lot of mistakes, especially coming from the Lithuanians, has been the thing that has been kind of a bit of like suffering them in this match. It can be really fast, but the consistency is the main thing that's a bit lacking, especially comparing their opposition right now. Both Auris and Bits gets a very nice inside grip line. Forever currently leading the field, following by the 2 Lithuanians and the German. No major mistake. We saw so many clips early on, but seems like a pretty solid round so far. All players are between 0.2 for trying to save a bit. But we didn't get the grip from the inside that allowed Bresso and Auris to catch up. So the main thing is for Auris to not be in last. A lot of Bresso is starting to push a bit, but he has Bits as well, who has a bit more exit speed than him, potentially sniping him in the last positions. So it all comes down to the event. At the end, seems like Auris really wants to get it, but seems like, oh no, Bits managed to secure the managed to still give life to Auris in the format. Only 0.07 left, and that could have been potentially it for Auris, but due to that now, both Lithuanians are in the reverse finalist position.
Double finalist.
Ideally, what can happen for Lithuanians if they send either Forever and Bresso in the bottom position, so they still have a, still an opportunity, especially with Bresso. If Bresso gets bottom 2 positions, then he will be also put in the reverse finalist. So we see our early mistake already. It was actually Forever. So it all comes down basically, now it all comes down to both Lithuanians keep that 1-2 position to give Bresso that -7 that will send also the German into reverse finalist to put more pressure on the player to potentially also send out and give Lithuania more opportunity in the final as well. Bit of an oversteer by Auris, had a lot of his line correction at the very end. Still in top 3 position, but he really needs that gets that 2nd place to put out Bresso. Basically, Bresso can't get top 2 in this scenario, ideally, but Bresso is trying to push up. Bits is trying to save it as he's in the top position, but keep in mind, we have still a 4th player in the field, which is Forever. Forever is also in the back, but seems like at the top positions. It's got a pretty big go. Bresso tries to save it. Auris doesn't manage to snipe it, and Bresso will still be left with only 2 points, so he will another security round on top of that, and it's going to be quite stressful now for both Lithuanians to play another round in reverse finalists without having a 3rd player who can potentially be eliminated as well.
That was still a good round, though. Everyone got pretty close to each other, actually, there. That was a 57.467, I think, yeah. That was a really close round. Really love to see it. Well, except Forever, I guess. But, like,
and now we're going to be coming to the auto-encoder, which might be potentially the last map. We saw who was the player who was hitting the cactus all the time. Will we see the same thing as well?
That was Bits, right?
That was Bits, so hopefully maybe Bits won't be, because that might be a literally with a...
No, Mime! It was Mime.
Oh, it was Mime,
the
yeah.
cactus, yes.
Who touched the cactus. So it is going to be quite straightforward map. There are certain parts where it all comes down for players to keep the gear, so it keeps the momentum going properly. So it seems like there seems to be some kind of slowdown. That's mainly just because they lose the gear in the middle parts of the road, especially in the plastic section with the black surface, that is. But yeah, at the moment, if you look at the scoreboard, Forever has a very comfortable 28 points. Bresso with only 2 points. So whatever, basically Bresso, if he finishes this round, he will be put in reverse finals as well. So the main thing to look out for is for both Lithuanians just to not get last. They need to deny either Forever or Bresso to just have a still stay alive in the tournament. It is still possible for even both Lithuanians to clutch it out to the grand final. It is still possible, but it's going to be quite difficult, especially Forever has been really stepping up his pace during this whole event, but there are a lot of inconsistencies coming with, so maybe at the last stages of the match we might see some miracle happening.
I just hope I didn't jinx Bits with the cactus thing right now. I hope I don't see that happen.
So we will see, as Auris had an unfortunate start. Also Forever though, so it's not it for Auris. It all comes down on what kind of momentum does he keep. It seems like the gap is way too big already. He probably saw it mistake, and it's potentially it. However, other players can also still make a mistake. Bits currently in the leading position, with the Bresso at the moment following in 2nd. So they at least they're trying to send off also Forever, trying to drain Forever with his points. If you look at the bottom, now Forever is in a quite comfortable... Actually, he's a bit gaining on Bits, who's kind of playing a bit more on the safe side. Forever is also starting closing, really trying to risk it for not allow for other players to catch up. At the top, there is Bits trying to also still basically main
Look
things
at
for
the
Bresso.
gap though, 0.09.
Basically, very, very close round at the top. And the main thing that at least drained Forever with their points. But due to that, Auris will be eliminated from the tournament, finishing 4th place in the match. It was GG's for Auris. Had a very solid performance as well, a bit like the consistency at the end. So it's now all on Bits for having a chance for Lithuania to shine in the final, as both Bresso and Bits are now in reverse finalists. So either if Bits or Bresso get last place, now there's only 3 people now, so unless Forever places last or both Bits and Bresso snipe him at the very end, we might see the match ending right here, right now. At the moment, no silly mistakes so far. Both all Bits, Forever and Bresso, all having a solid start so far. Bresso is tiny bit behind, especially going to be quite shaky to see if you're like in the red And with an 0-3 at the back when there's 3 players left, looks like Bits had a bit of a gear issue, but seems like everything is fine. As Bresso also lost the gear, so a bit of a pressure definitely starting to come in. Bresso with a very safe drift there. So he's trying to get his consistency up, however both Bits and Forever are really trying to force the pace up going. Forever has a solid lead unless a silly mistake, as he actually still survived it. Very nice dirt snap from both of the players, but Bresso is a bit behind. So Bresso might be the player who will be eliminated from this situation. We have seen some silly bonks, anything can happen at the very last triangle. No, everyone stays it safe, and it will be Bresso eliminated, and Bits will make it to the grand final. So in the grand final, we will have Forever from Poland, Mime also from Poland, Deska also from Poland, so we'll have 3 Polish players, and Bits from Lithuania coming from the losers bracket will also be the participant in the grand finals afterwards in around like 15 or so minutes.
I'm glad that I didn't jinx Bits there. I'm really glad.
Maybe it was a reverse jinx, so pointing out that happened already made it not happen. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for Oris that, you know, it happened. Also, Berso actually had a very, very solid match, had a solid consistency during the entirety of the match. Was all the time in that 2-3 period. But when that 4th player is out, that 3rd place managed to pop up. And also Forever and Bits having a solid like 1-2 rounds most of the times at the very decisive parts was the thing that was kind of determined for Bresso. But still, solid performance for Oris and Bresso, a top 6 for them. But we'll be seeing now the grand final in around 15 minutes, so definitely stay tuned.